Yes, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And we're really looking forward to the session.
Super, likewise.
And you look beautiful, by the way.
You too. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a fun thing to watch before the live because I'm getting from one live to the other, and I've always kept like half an hour or 45 minutes.
By the way.
And it's so interesting that Sama is running and like, are you talking to the computer again? And I have to make sure that she's settled until we start the next session. So this is my
lovely.
Just mandatory.
With 25 acres of breathtaking beauty and absolute tranquility, Madhuban Resort and Spa exemplifies luxury that is soaked in tradition.
Madhuban is a home away from home. With his vast, enchanting gardens, Team Madhuban always awaits to give you service with a smile. Adding to that, the aromas of cuisines from around the world makes Madhuban a perfect wedding destination.
At Madhuban, an experienced team of wedding concierge and event planners are committed to weaving together moments that are certain to stay with you for a lifetime. Because moments as special as their wedding need a destination as special as Madhuban. Madhuban Resort and Spa, luxury soaked in tradition.
So, shall we begin? I think Niti.
Yes. So we are really pleased to have you with us, Raageshwari. We're delighted to have Miss Raageshwari Loomba Swaroop with us today. The sunshine girl from the 90s to balancing her mommy duties and work by spreading love and peace, an award-winning speaker on mindfulness, a Tibetan yoga expert, and a beautiful book to her credit on building a happy family published by Penguin India. It's been quite an odyssey, Raageshwari. On a personal note, I must say we are very proud to have you as a part of our family. I would like to say something for you. And one day she discovered that she was fierce and strong and full of fire, and that not even she could hold herself back because her passion burned brighter than her fears. But before I begin her introduction, which I'm sure will leave each one of us mesmerized and in complete awe of her, I take pleasure in welcoming our vibrant FLO members whose zeal to learn never quenches, and our past chairpersons who are the pillars of strength for us. Remember the singing sensation in the 90s? Yes, the one who shot to fame with a music album titled Dunya. I do remember Raageshwari humming to that beautiful song all the time while we were growing up. Later, she went on to star in films like Main Khiladi Tu Anari and Aankhein. I do hum the songs even today with the Lal Dupatta and the various other lovely songs, which, of course, remind me of those times. When she was at the peak of her career, she was diagnosed for Bell's palsy, more commonly known as the facial paralysis and a retroverted uterus in the year 2000. After struggling with her diagnosis, Raageshwari finally rose back just like a phoenix and was also seen as a participant in the Big Boss season 5. Later, she married Sudhanshu Swaroop, a London based international law barrister in the year 2014, whose mother is apparently my aunt, and I think she's present here if I'm not wrong. I would, of course, like to, yes, she is there. Pranam, Bua, how are you?
Pranam, Aditi, what a pleasure to hear you. and Raageshwari, aren't I privileged? I am privileged indeed today.
So I'd even like to introduce you to Ms. Taruna Patel, who's the chairperson, and Taruna ji, she's Raageshwari's mother-in-law and a big supporter. The family, of course, she's herself so brilliant, Raageshwari, that she's managed to win everybody's hearts.
Oh, thank you.
So she currently...
Taruna, how wonderful. How wonderful.
Thank you.
So, carrying on with her introduction, she currently resides in London with her husband and a 4-year-old daughter, Samaya Swaroop. And today we see her practicing mindful speaking and is often sharing her thoughts on Instagram. Raageshwari has worked with the legendary Jack Canfield and released India's first affirmation CD with the path-breaking guru of affirmations, the late Louise Hay. Her videos on meditation and ancient Tibetan rites have gone viral on YouTube, and her diverse work takes her across the globe, from performing at the Nobel Peace Center to working with His Highness Dalai Lama to working in Pakistan with children rescued from terrorist training camps to working in India for the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation on maternal mortality. Raageshwari is one of the most exciting speakers globally on motivation, wellness, and mindfulness. With her grit and determination, she not only overcame all the hurdles, but also established an example in front of everyone. Her life story is proof that whatever comes your way, one can always fight it off with power and positivity. I now invite Mrs. Taruna Patel to say a few words.
Thank you, Aditi, and good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to have you with us, Raageshwari, and Mrs. Swaroop, your mother-in-law. So, in the recent past, I was actually forwarded a video clipping of yours, and while the world talked of the pandemic in alarming, frightful and negative ways, here was a charming petite young lady talking about how to view the negativity surrounding us in many positive ways. Her calming demeanor had me listening till the very end of the video as she effortlessly transgressed from one topic to the other. While she is a very well-known personality, it was only later that I discovered that she is now a mindfulness speaker, amongst other things. Friends, it is my pleasure to welcome the beautiful Raageshwari Loomba Swaroop in our midst today. What exactly does it mean to be a mindfulness speaker? Mindfulness is achieved when your mind is fully focused and aware of what's happening in the present moment. Those who have achieved mindfulness are not distracted, thinking about something else, worrying about the future, or overreacting to events occurring around them. It is amazing that someone, and especially from the glitzy world of glamour and films, has transitioned into such a role at such a young age. Equally amazing is the gamut of roles that Raageshwari has undertaken and left an incredible mark in whatever she has done, be it in the world of music, the film industry, and as a television host and VJ for hip and happening programs relating more to youth and children. At FLO, it is our aim to create more and more women entrepreneurs in all stratas of society by providing them with the assistance they need. And more than that, provide them with an impetus to find a more productive use of their inherent skills. Here is a woman who has singly and bravely shaped herself into being an entrepreneur. Despite two unfortunate medical conditions she had to go through at the very peak of her acting career. While most would sit back and accept the misgivings of what life has to offer, Raageshwari arose from these complications like a phoenix and took on challenging and responsible assignments. There is much we want to hear from Raageshwari today. She has encouraged people to, and I quote, meditate, connect with all your vortexes, practice earthing, sit on grass, especially under a tree, and seek guidance from the greatest mother, this planet. Enlarge your thinking, expand your mind, most importantly, act like a mother and vibrate that energy at all times. Let's open the door to Aditi to take over and allow us to hear the story of this fascinating lady, Raageshwari Loomba.
Thank you.
Welcome.
What a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Taruna ji. So let's begin this chat. I think it will be a beautiful one, very inspirational for everyone and very inspiring. I would actually like to go backwards, Raageshwari. Your latest book.
Aditi,
Yes.
Aditi,
Yes.
can I have Neeti just give a little introduction?
Okay. Sure.
Welcoming you. Yeah, please. Neeti? Neeti, are you there?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Neeti.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. May I now ask our present current secretary, FLO, and the founder, chair, Mrs. Aditi Parekh, to do the conversation with Raageshwari Loomba.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Aditi.
Yes. So I think Raageshwari, we can, of course, begin this conversation. Thank you for the introduction. I think, yes. Can we begin? I think there's some technical hitch.
Yes.
Okay. So Raageshwari, going backwards, your latest book, Building a Happy Family, 11 Practices of Mindful Parenting, discusses how music, books, art, dance, love, among other things, can work wonders and broaden views on raising children. Please tell us what motivated you to write this book and a few learnings and maybe takeaways from it for everyone here.
That's wonderful. Firstly, I just want to make space. I want to welcome everybody who's watching, joining us. I want to start with my pranam to my true gurus, my parents, because we learn so much from them.
Can you just speak a little louder? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
just
no.
a little louder, please.
Is this better?
Yes, yes. Now it's better.
So right away, I'd like to say, pranam to all the gurus out there, my gurus, my parents, all the elders, everybody who's watching us. I want to make space for everybody, perhaps someone going through a bad time in the family, health crisis, financial crisis. I want to make space for everybody and send out loving energies. And perhaps we could, there's a whole lot of movement.
Your voice is gone now.
Right at the top. Is it my screen? Oh. Where we could actually stop the video if there are people moving, so I could focus on you. Aditi?
Yes.
So we could ask people who are moving while they're listening to us, they could actually stop their video so that we don't
Okay.
see.
Can you put the spotlight on Raageshwari? Maybe that'll help.
Or just ask people, I mean, they're free to move, but super, so that I can give you complete attention. So right away I want to make space, because we're actually connecting, through this virtual medium. But this is powerful emotions, where we really transcend space, time, and really connect with people. Now, coming back to the book, that yes, mindfulness can really transform our lives. So, when I decided to write the book, was an organic decision, because my journey began almost 20 years back when I had facial paralysis. And, with the amazing love that I had, my parents and people unknown, right, they keep sending you amazing energies, like you all, we'd never met, but there's so much love. I realized through my recovery, Aditi, that actually we are never taught to embrace our challenges and embrace our failures, because the greatest joy that we get is not when we actually win awards. We may think, because we've bought into culture, we've been trained to believe that I feel great when I'm a success and I take my awards and I buy a home and I buy a car. The actual joy is when you conquer defeat, when you really realize I made a mistake, I've learned from it, and now I stand corrected, stand much more mighty. So this is a very strong message, because I felt brilliant after I recovered. Not that I wanted to come back to my life as a singer or work, that anyways happened, but the fact that failures, mistakes, and downfalls never caused me any worry and anxiety ever again after that. It was just like, God, this is an amazing experience. So today, if you ask me, what is your breakthrough? I will never think about it as an album or a project I did with my dad, or, my mindfulness company in London. My breakthrough was my facial paralysis, that actually just triggered this huge change, that your inner world creates your outer world. And so at all times, my intention was very pure, that I wanted each and every woman out there, each and every man out there, each and every child out there to realize that they are perfect the way they are. Because you see, sporadically, our parents tell us that, beta, I love you so much. But some subliminally, on a consistent basis, what is it that culture teaches us? I'm not the best if I don't stand first in school. I'm not the best because teacher doesn't, love me if I'm not doing my best in all the subjects. I'm not the best because my parents consistently compare me with the child who's standing first. I'm not the best because my father wants me to be a football player, whatever reasons. Subliminally program us that we are separate from each other. And when we have that separation, automatically, I will never rejoice in my uniqueness, because I've not been taught that you're perfect the way you are. Just enjoy the journey. We've been taught to chase awards and rewards and have that kind of pressure. And now parents have that pressure for their children, because they have been told that, a good student who's doing really well academically sort of tells you indirectly that you're a great parent. But actually, that is the parenting, modality or that experience that should change. So that's why I wrote the book. And you can't really tell people what mindfulness as simply as dhyan, right? You close your eyes and you breathe and you focus on your breath. Now we are breathing all day long, but it's on autopilot. But when we focus on our breath, we actually develop a habit of becoming this awareness, that when you're anxious or when you're nervous or during the pandemic, you're looking at the news, you can actually step aside and say, okay, I'm looking at the news and this is getting me nervous. So that's what mindfulness trains you for, to become separate, to increase that portal, that space between you and your thoughts. Writing a book was explaining mindfulness and introducing it to everybody in childlike terms, where it would be easy for you, where parents would be like, I don't think I'm going to sit and meditate. My goodness, this is too tough. Meditation bol rahe, and I talk about meditation, people run away.
Run away.
So I wrote the book where you can paint together, because it immediately draws your senses to the present moment. It helps you bond, where I've talked about pottery, where we talked about gardening, or we talked about music. So these subtle nuances, these subtle changes in our life, Aditi, get us to slow down. And basically, it's about understanding that the more you slow down, the more you'll be able to achieve. The more you breathe slowly, the more you'll be able to have thoughts which are not racing here and there, and you'll be great. This is an amazing FLO Ahmedabad Fiki chapter. I'm here with Aditi, with Taruna Patel, and nothing else matters at this point. So that comes with practice, and that's what I've talked about in building a happy family. And how do people change and get influenced? I've seen, Aditi, is always with personal examples. So every video I make, I always try to talk about, this is what happened to me. This works for me. This is a person who was an MTV and a Channel V VJ. I used to laugh when I used to see my parents meditate. I was like,
I agree.
So I'm talking from experience that you will be able to master your own life, your own thoughts, follow your bliss. Only then can we try to make others happy. That is the basic mission of the book, the vision of the book, the message of the book, that if you are happy, you'll be able to build a family that's happy.
I can really completely relate to this because we do have everyone in my house too practicing meditation, spirituality. And yes, my children laugh at me just the way you were saying that they don't understand it at the moment. But I'm sure bit by bit, children will understand. Somewhere they're gaining 5%, 2% of it.
Aditi, because children, and especially toddlers, are naturally mindful. You see, why do we know that? Because they forgive people so easily. They're not bothered about the future at all. So they're naturally mindful. They don't need to meditate like adults do because we have been conditioned. We've lost our mindfulness, wonderful gift that we have. Children naturally have it, but watching you, because you see, whatever we teach children from 0 to 7, as Panchatantra said, as the Chanakya Niti said, it's a template for them. It's a template for our life. So they will remember that Mama meditates, Papa like I remember, and it will come to them when they most need it. Absolutely, it's there. It's in the program. So don't underestimate what.
So great. So for the viewers, of course, we have a message that please be mindful of the way you are parenting. And of course, it's important to whatever they see, they watch, they will implement it. Coming to the next question, Raageshwari, how have you managed during the lockdown in London and now that everyone is adjusting to the new way of life?
I couldn't hear you.
I said, how have you managed your time during the lockdown in London? Can you hear me?
I completely cannot hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
Now I can hear you. Now
okay,
I can.
Great. I think it's maybe because of the distance and the network. So how have you managed your time during the lockdown in London and now that everyone is adjusting to the new way of life? What is the advice that you'd like to give to people? Because we don't see the virus going anywhere for a long, long time.
Well, firstly, I'm a mother. I handle my house single-handedly. My husband's a barrister, and barristers work very hard outside the home. And while I really, really give a lot of credit to my timetable, and usually people get extremely crippled. They say, oh my goodness, a timetable worries them, reminds them of school, but a timetable truly liberates you. So that's what I do. I wake up very early. I'm up by 4:30, 5, and I finish my most important tasks at that time, because there's great research where, even where chess players are concerned, right? They were asked to play and they observed them that how do you make your decisions in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening? And we realized and we saw that they made the most perfect decisions, even though they took longer in the morning, but they made erratic decisions after lunch. So I make my most important decisions first thing in the morning. I meditate, I look at my vision board, I do a lot of positive affirmations. I start my day with, chatting with my parents. And I really plan my day, because I know once my daughter wakes up, she hijacks my day completely. And I'm single-handedly, looking after her, unless, of course, if my parents visit, then I have a whole lot of time to delve into other aspects. But during the lockdown, one of the most important messages that I'd like to give parents is this is a huge portal, a huge opportunity for us to really define to our children how challenges should be faced, because some people are going crazy just because they cannot go over to restaurants or their shopping trips, while
Yes.
some people have lost businesses, Aditi, and they are still pretty okay. So it teaches you, you know, how interestingly our coping mechanisms are. But this is also thanks to our childhood patterns. We've seen our parents say, oh great, this is a tough time, no worries, what can we learn? Or we've had
Correct.
parents who say, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me now, what's going to happen? So whatever you've seen in your defining moments as a child will be your coping mechanisms. Now, consciously me being here and you give me a challenge, I'll be able to act out what I think is right. But when we have a challenge, it's almost on a subconscious level where our coping mechanisms come up. That's, you can instantly know what your parenting baggage or your parenting tradition is. So it's very important that we can change that tradition now, that during this challenge, are we teaching our children, wow, what an experience. This experience is an experience of a lifetime. What does it teach us? Well, it teaches us about the stellar corona. Wow, we can see it only in darkness. So you think we can see some positives? Wow, it teaches us I can do without shopping. I can do without new bags. I can do without new shirts. I mean, this is amazing because my cool friends tell me you wear the same shirt always, and I say, well, I do wash it, and that's all that matters, because you really don't need as much as culture. Advertisements have programmed our minds to believe we need. At the same time, culture has constantly told us you're not perfect. You need, you know, a marriage to be perfect. You need children to be perfect. You need the corporate corner office to be happy. You need lots of money to be happy. And this is another, you know, huge cultural baggage that people carry. When I've personally seen, you know, my husband and I marvel when I would I see my parents and they're happy with very little, but it's amazing the kind of joy they have with very little. My mother probably would have like 4 saris, but just joy, joyful in chants and you know, making dal rice. That beauty of simplicity. So that's a beautiful message we can teach our children at this huge portal, Aditi. That what is it that actually matters? Are these tags that the society has given us? Because right now we're upset because those tags have gone away, isn't it?
Wonderful.
We have no tags now. You're no more the big CEO. I'm no more the big singer. I'm no more the even the mindfulness. Though it's so interesting. If you knew about moving with the times, you'll see we become virtual. So this is great for all our women entrepreneurs to learn from Aditi and Taruna, that it's interesting if you just relax and surrender to challenge, then the inner genius awakens. And then you'll say, great, hey, listen, I can reach out to people. So that's what my lovely editor at Penguin, you know, decided. They said, let's release the book. The algorithms are showing us people are wanting to read something to make them happy, feel relaxed, be mindful. So how do we release the book? And they said, well, we release it digitally on Kindle. And it's doing well in spite of, people may think, what a time to release a book. And we think, no, it's the perfect time, because here we are training people to embrace the challenges, because then you'll get the brightest, most amazing ideas. If I've answered your question.
Yes, absolutely. So what I understand is embrace minimalism happily and adjust. I think you should quickly adapt to the changes around us. That's what we should do.
That is a fabulous word, adaptability. And that comes with surrender. Because when it's a challenge, just imagine a challenge is like a bee that's trapped in a room. So the bee goes, oh my God, I want to get out, I want to get out, I want to get out. And people are like that, right? They get upset, they scream, they shout, not realizing, my goodness, this takes me more away from my true growth. And until the bee just relaxes and gets tired, it gets a whiff of the air and says, oh, this is not where the door is. The door, is probably on the other side. So the more you are still, you surrender. So it's a beautiful word, surrender, embrace. And then the inner genius will come. Suddenly you'll get an idea. Let's call this person. I think I'm going to get a new job. Let's call this person. I think they need some visual help or virtual help. I think this person would be perfect for me to meet, have a chat with. You'll get those amazing ideas. And that's when adaptability will happen. So it's so interesting you use that word, because millions of years ago, when the asteroid hit planet Earth, it wasn't the strongest species. It wasn't the dinosaurs that survived. It were the ones who survived were the most adaptable, the most flexible, the most calm species. You and me, who believed in love, who believed in togetherness.
Yes. Great. That's fantastic. I would come back to your book. You said that in your book, you've spoken about the Mozart phenomenon and also the oxygen mask therapy. I would love to hear about it. I think everybody would, because we've never heard of this.
Lovely. So where, where the Mozart phenomena is concerned, I'd read about it, long before I conceived Samaya. So I was really into, classical music, thanks to my beloved dad. So we would love hearing Mozart together. And then I just chanced upon this amazing Mozart phenomena that said that the chord structures are so brilliant that they actually calm people. So people who are working while Mozart plays really make better decisions, are much more calmer, much more mindful. And so women who are, with the unborn child in the womb, it's perfect that you consistently hear Mozart. So I just loved it. And, who wouldn't really love Mozart or any chants or any, classical music that you are drawn to? So you have to follow, what's good for your ears. So this is what the Mozart phenomena is, that it's backed by research where, we've had lovely politicians, in the West who were distributing Mozart symphonies to women who were pregnant, that if you hear this, it really helps. And I did see that. And, of course, if every mother has the perfect child, right? They feel that. So I will refrain. I want Samaya to be humble. But I saw, a great calm in her. It was amazing how her personality is changing. Because when she was born, she was exactly like how I wanted her to be, as in sleeping really well, amazing clockwork precision. Where I wanted her to sleep, she would sleep. And I was also visualizing that. So we'll talk about visualizations as well, that I was affirming in my mind what I wanted more than what people affirm. My goodness, you lose your sleep forever. Unbelievable. And it was amazing because, my mother was there during the delivery, and when Samaya was a baby, and then it was time for my mama to go back to Bombay. And I was a little nervous about that, because single-handedly, bring up a little baby. But then that's when, Mozart helped me. And I've also talked about, how we can build associations with music nostalgia. So I would play the Mozart Symphony number 11 at all times when I would put Samaya to bed. So it was interesting that when I actually wanted her to sleep, then I always started that symphony, that it would actually make her fall asleep. And that is what music nostalgia is, Aditi, because I could play a song. You could think of a song that you heard when you were in your college. And if you hear that song today, it will instantly transport you,
Correct.
a happy memory. Or, like when I hear a song, Phoolon Ka Sabka Kehna, it instantly gets me emotional because you think of your brother and all of that. So that's music nostalgia, which comes naturally, but you can actually use it to your benefit as a mindfulness technique. So that was answering a part of your question. And where the other question was concerned, oxygen mask theory is for all mothers, but also, I want to be gender neutral for all our husbands as well, because even they, many times they do not prioritize themselves as parents, basically. And modern day parents think over time, what can I do for my kid to be a genius? What can I do? So our parents never thought so much. At least my parents were just like too easygoing. They were like, oh, really? You have exams today? Okay.
True.
Very artistic parents. So it was funny. But what I mean is, oxygen mask theory basically is talking about, when you go into the airplane, the air hostess very kindly reminds you that you will attend to your needs first.
Yes.
So we've talked about it, and my book is spiritual, but it's totally backed by cutting edge science. We've had Monica Sood, who's an amazing researcher in neuroscience. So we have cutting edge research that, everything is research backed, that when we actually indulge in self-care, ladies, and especially mothers with young children, very important, because children are very mindful. Why? Because they're all about self-care. They're all about prioritizing themselves. They don't care if you've eaten, if you're tired, and if you're drinking water. If they want it, they'll grab yours. So it's so interesting. And we, especially from our subcontinent, we always are taught, right, to be a good mother is to really be there 100%, to be there at all times. And in doing that, we completely erode the part of really nurturing our soul, nurturing ourselves. And and then that is the beginning of us disciplining our children, getting very strict with them, not allowing their freedom, and then searching our breakthroughs through them. But when you nurture yourself and you relax, and that's why I wake up 4:30 in the morning, because after 7 o'clock I will not have time which is mine. So I wake up and that's my time to really do whatever pleases me, makes me happy, brings me strength, visualization, chanting, meditating, exercising, journaling. So I do all that, and then, I'm raring to go. But then meeting friends. So self-care for women, we say, okay, give us some ideas, like a hobby. What are the hobbies that you indulged in before marriage, but you're not anymore?
Yes.
Hobbies you indulge in once, you did not have children, and write them, because you'll be like, oh my goodness, I'm not doing anything for myself. And this is such a story. But we've bought into culture, right? Because culture tells you you're a good woman if you're not doing anything for yourself. Brainwashed us to be odd, brainwashed us to be subservient at times when it doesn't really help us. So oxygen mask therapy is basically telling you just focus on yourself, because children anyways focus on themselves, and from that point you'll be a marvelous mindful parent. Because most of the mindful parenting books, Aditi, tell you do this to your child, observe your child, do not react, respond. But we cannot do all that unless we don't do it with the person in the mirror, that is you. Because that'll be very short term. You'll be able to do how 1 week I'm doing this mindful parenting thing that Raga told me about. It's not going to work. You have to work on yourself. You have to walk the talk, and then you've trained your child to be that when the child grows up.
Lovely. I think I am going to take a pledge of waking up at 4:30, thanks to you. And I'm definitely, sorry?
Powerful time. It's a very powerful time.
Absolutely. It is a very,
yeah. And you can go slowly. You can dwell on it slowly. Because also sleep early now, so then it's easy. But at the same time, you can program your minds. There's a meditation technique if you want to wake up. If there are people out there, so you get into your thought, deep thought, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Get to count 1, and then you visualize a huge red clock. Okay, huge. Let's do this together, everybody. Okay, let's do it right now. So you just close your eyes and you take deep breaths. So you focus on your breath. So let's go 5, 4. And I'm doing this so that, it gets cemented in your brain. 3, 2, slow down. 1, just slow down your breathing. And fill up your chest really nicely. And then you breathe out slowly. And now visualize a huge red clock. Now, make the hands of the clock move if you want to wake up at 4 or 4:30 or 5, okay? Let it move at 4. And now, through the genius of your brain, hear a huge alarm bell ring at 4. Hear a huge alarm, like whatever the alarm is. Let it ring in your mind. Now visualize your hands coming and pushing the snooze button or turning it off. And now, as I count backwards, you will come out of this state. So 5, 4, 3, coming back to consciousness, remembering that clock, that huge red clock. 4, the huge alarm. 3, 2, 1, and you open your eyes. And you just open your eyes. And this was a very quick technique, but this is a very powerful technique. Why? When we sleep, we go through deep sleep and very light sleep. That's why sometimes when we wake up with an alarm, we wake up very fresh, while sometimes we go, oh my God, right? Why is that? Because sometimes your alarm could have rung at a time when you were in deep sleep. Now your body has an amazing divine intelligence. And when you meditate, you're connecting to that divine intelligence that please wake me up at 4. So it will readjust its divine sleep time, deep high, deep high. So it'll be in a very light state of sleep when it's time for 4:30, and you will actually awaken on your own. But don't do that on a flight, okay? So don't have the alarm until you've really mastered it. Like, Raga, I missed my flight because of that red clock. But it works brilliantly. Like, I wake up without the clock for sure now. And you saw that during the Big Boss time as well, because they have no clocks in that house. And so many people would ask me, is that really true? There's no script? Absolutely. We don't see a soul, Aditi. So when we go into that, there's nobody. You don't see anything. But there's glass everywhere, and which only reflects us. But there are psychologists all around. This is a good thing to talk about, isn't it? Because we'll really get excited. I can see that on your face. So it's a home. It's a cute home, and you walk in, and you don't get to know who your colleagues or your housemates are going to be, because we're under contract to not talk about it until you go into the home. So even as we go and started to get ready for the entry, we were in vanity vans with black cloth everywhere. So it's quite amazing that they program your mind. And thank goodness I'd learned about neuroscience and I was into mind. I was enjoying this. I was viewing it, right? The mindful approach would be, this is getting me nervous and anxious. That's okay. It's just this experience. So, and then you meet Salman as you go in, and then, he shows you the house. And at that point you realize, I'm seeing someone familiar. And then you meet Salman and you go out of the house, and then they again take you blindfolded, right? So they're building the stress and the anxiety in you. And then you get locked into the house. There are no clocks. There are no phones. So you and they have studied you, Aditi. So for example, you love coffee. They will make sure there's no coffee. If they know Aditi likes milk, they will make sure that there's no milk. And they really raise the temperature of the home, as in make it really cold. And they give you really light quilts. So you're like really, really. So interestingly, I had carried a lot of warm jumpers. And so the cold didn't affect me. But, for example, I was handling the kitchen. So every time my big cooker would sort of disappear because I had to make meals for everybody. So now I had to make meals in smaller cookers. So it's just interesting how this could upset someone, right? But if you have a mindful approach, you can actually say, this can upset me, but I know I can actually have a humorous approach to it, because it's funny. It's like, someone tickling you and saying, I know this is going to get you upset. So no, it's not going to get me upset. So my Big Boss experience was amazing, Aditi. It was so wonderful because वो आईना है ना, जिंदगी का आईना है कि you can observe, see you're getting upset, see you're getting irritated. Goodness, this is so funny. And if we even teach our children about emotions, I mean, we ourselves don't know about emotions at all. We don't know. Many a times when we get upset, angry, there are people who say, I don't know why I'm sad. So it's amazing to teach that to children. See? This is why you're getting upset. You've not sipped water. There you go. You've not played. That's why you're getting agitated. You wanted to go out and play, or you haven't cycled today, or you don't feel like studying. Yes, because you've not eaten enough. So it's just about observing through self-observation, because nobody can teach you how to be a good parent. You are a brilliant parent. You are perfect. It's only for you to learn that from self-experience, then you're dynamite.
Great. That's such a, I think, profound thought. And of course, you've expressed it so well that I'm sure that it's a big learning for all of us, because everybody needs to know in the rat race that we're all in. So I'll come to this question on a subconscious level. Like, I think you almost answered it, but parents want their children to be a better version of themselves all the time. I see that in myself too, all the time. And I keep comparing. I said, my school, I was raised this way. Look at the way you children are. You don't even do half of it. So we do it all the time with parents in the metropolitan cities working longer hours. Children have less access and time to spend with their parents. Any tips on how family can work consciously on this?
Thank you for the question. And sweetheart, you will be so shocked at what research told us, because when we were researching on the book, when I wrote it, and my editor Roshni said, my goodness, because now you think that modern day parents are not spending enough time, not doing enough with their children. But research tells us that modern day parents like you and me actually are spending much more time with their children than our parents did with us. So parents of the 70s, 80s, earlier, not at all, because think about it. We were always running, playing by ourselves without adult supervision. We were never really dropped by our parents at all times. We had buses or
જય
someone.
શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.
Oh dear.
આ તમારા પગમાં ક્યાં આગળ તમાર માય છે? પાછળ કરો ખુરશી.
Somebody will have to mute.
હજુ કરો? હા.
Never mind. I think.
પપ્પાને હવે બેસાડે કોઈ?
Can we mute everybody and not
ખુરશી
me?
પાછળ નથી કરી આપતા?
I love this. This is amazing.
So this could have otherwise provoked people. I, of course, urge everybody to not get upset about it and use the mindful approach here.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful and authentic. That's the beauty about virtual live events like these. It's authentic. And now they know that this is all about Ahmedabad. My Bhabhi is Gujarati. I love Ahmedabad. I love the food. I'm thinking about all the amazing, tours I've done. My dad did a album based on, on Gandhiji and Sach Ka Saath, which we shot in Ahmedabad. So I have great memories.
Lovely.
Can you hear me, Aditi? All good
Yes, now I can. We have the person muted, so not an issue, unfortunately.
Yes. What were we talking about? We were talking about, yes, our identity. So it's natural, because that's what we've learned, right? That our children will now fulfill our dreams and desires. And before that, I was telling you that, research actually says no, modern day parents are spending far too much time. Our parents, and like I said, my family was a little too different. Like I had my friends who were stressed about their studies. I personally was stressed, but like I told you, my parents were very easygoing. They said, study, if it makes you happy, great. You have to go to school. But I had to go to school because of what they defined me, that you'll make friends, you'll be able to read and write and be able to read books. So it was a very joyful approach about education. And I was always, girls, I think, are more particular. My brother was like, I'll study a day before the exam. I was like,
Great.
I understand that we come from a pure place that we want our children to study well. But now again, research tells us that we actually teach our children lies, that only academic success and tons of money will make you happy. Not true at all, because 80% of mental illnesses, mental health issues are connected with this mad desire to be successful. Why is it that top athletes feel lost? Why is it that so many corporate CEOs have mental health issues? Why is it the successful people, and with that I mean successful according to the definitions provided by culture, not the definitions provided by the wise people? Because according to the wise people, each of you, Nandita ji, Babita ji, Pinky ji, Aditi ji, me, we are all successful, not defined by anything that culture tells you. Now, if we learn this, then we will liberate our children. We will completely liberate them, because in doing that, we will untap a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs or a MF Hussain or a Sachin Tendulkar in them. But if we are going to define them with the social definitions of success, that you have to do well in school, then we are actually only thinking of them to be in a factory line production, right? That you better do well. And so there you have, danger both ways, because your child could be the front runner and has never been taught what diversity is or what true happiness is. And if your child sadly is a backbencher, you haven't nurtured him to say, that means you're a genius. My goodness, you're thinking very differently. Because here's the education system, that's one straight line, and wanting people like you, me, to fit in. Not at all. It will not work. Also, it's outcome driven, right? It's all competitive. It's all about, can you get an award? Can you get a reward? How many of us have got rewards? I did not get a single award and reward in my school. Now the friends of mine who got a lot of awards, I can say that because they're watching the show too, they did really well in school. Sab first aate the. Or 19 ki age mein, they got married, okay? Which is also fabulous. Now I talk to them and they're like, I did not write the book, even I had an amazing idea. They're telling me because I wrote. Even I wanted to act, I did not act. Rags, you started that project. Even I wanted to, start this project on Khadi. I'm like, just go ahead. So this is what you want to teach children, rise from failure, make your mistakes. Why? Because only when you make mistakes, you'll have that snaps in you to take risks. I can take the risk. Like Aditi, I know that you've formed this amazing network with Taruna ji together. It must be a brilliant brainwave, an idea, right? And it wouldn't have been easy because beginning is never easy. But if we excite ourselves and say, when it's not easy, it's fun. Because children think when it's not easy, it's fun, right? That's why they go on these highest slides. That's why they learn to walk when they're toddlers. They're not worried about who's walking first. They are enjoying their glory. I'm going to stand. I'm finally going to stand. I'm finally going to stand. I'm finally going to cycle. I'm finally going to cycle. In the first 2 years, these toddlers master a language, Aditi. So there's so much to learn from them. So I would like parents to know that if we are very critical of ourselves, we will be critical with children. If we think we have not done justice to our own dreams, then we will constantly push our children because thank aap to mere dreams fulfill karo please. It's like that. And we need to step back and say, no, you are your guru now. I will give you the love. I will give you my time. I will, and that's what that's why I wanted to be there with Samaya, and God helped me in that path. I want to be there for your foundation. And then I'll help you see. I'll give you all the experiences. You want to do ballet, you want to do football, you want to paint, everything. I'm here to support you. But I'm here to nurture you and inspire hard work through my hard work. So if I don't want you to watch TV, then Sudhanshu and me have done the same. If we want you to read books, then at all times we read a book before she sleeps. We read it together. So these small changes, but follow your own dreams, nurture yourself. Oxygen mask theory.
So lovely, so lovely. I think I can go on talking to you. Unfortunately, we of course are short on time. I'm sure people want to chat with you, and I need to get out of the limelight now very soon. But I would still ask you 2 questions before I open it to everyone. Very briefly, I would like you to touch upon your challenging times that you faced and you overcame it. Can you share that journey? I know you may not want to look back, but
oh no, I like I said, I look at it as a breakthrough. So sure. And
so what was it? What happened? Usually a turning point in life takes one's life to a different path, and a more meaningful path. And definitely we see you as a motivational speaker. But what was it like? How did it happen?
So I'm a fairly healthy person according to the social definitions. Don't drink, don't smoke. Nobody's told us, but now I'm telling you, I'm sure a whole lot of wise people have already said that. Mental diet, right? Your mental diet is so important. This is what I know in retrospect. So back then I was just 20, 22, working, having these amazing albums and doing these tours with my father, coming back, enjoying lovely time at home. And it was just one morning when I woke up and I started to brush my teeth, and it was just difficult for me to retain the water in. So I just felt a slur. I felt, very numb on my face. So I ran to my parents and I told them. And my dad loves homeopathy. And so he instantly knew that it is something that's nerve related. We rushed to the hospital. The hospital took almost 2 days to identify, because nobody really knew in a warm place. They always identify this in a colder place with a lot of cold air coming on your face and paralyzing your facial expression nerve. And that's what they told me, that you've got Bell's palsy. And it's so interesting because I have, I feel liberated when I talk about it. But I can see when my family, they're like, again, she will talk about this. So, because for them, it was difficult. And I think for me, it wasn't about me, my face changing. Because I've never really been told, oh, you're so beautiful, or you're so pretty at home, and which was amazing. And I never tell Samaya that either, because your qualities are you kind? Are you generous? Are you gentle? Are you positive? Or do you know how to chase what's positive in your life? So thankfully, my issue was not that my face was lopsided. My issue was, my goodness, Mom, Dad, I won't be able to do these concerts that I've signed up for. I had a whole lot of charitable events, including my school, that, I wanted to do the very next day. And the doctor said, but, you're going to get more and more lopsided. You will not be able to speak clearly. And then that was true, because the very next day I had a very bad slur and I could barely speak. But I still did the shows. I just mimed it and did the shows, the few shows that I could. And that's when, the inner journey began. So by default, Aditi, I started to be alone because I did not want to meet my friends, well-meaning friends. And this is what I want to tell everybody out there, because sometimes we, our loved ones may say things because they care, but they say it in the wrong manner. And so we say, oh my goodness. So that is the time to step away. No worries. You take your time to nurture yourself and build your emotional muscles. So very important for people, if you have the opportunity to move away from something that's causing you pain, then do it. If you don't have the opportunity, then you change your mind. So I could move away from friendships that were defining me to believe that it's all about the face. And I was moving towards children. So I spent a lot of time training to be a kindergarten teacher. I trained to be a fitness instructor. And then what I couldn't change was, of course, my face. So I embraced that reality. I mean, this was a slow process, okay? This was a slow process. Then I embraced that reality and I started a lot of inner work. So by default, I had a whole lot of time to myself. I chanced upon a book, Alpha Silver Mind Control. And through that, my journey of meditation, mindfulness began, because it rung a bell, right? I anyways had those pictures of my parents meditating. And I meditated and I saw amazing synchronicities within one meditation. I was like, wow, this is wonderful. And through that, I moved, towards understanding what gratitude is. And I did a video on gratitude, which has done so well. I really didn't understand gratitude. And we've all been hearing about gratitude for so long, right? That gratitude is important. It helps you, shift your focus. But we've been told about it in spiritual terms. When I read about the science and then I applied it in my life when I was facially paralyzed, because when you're only focusing on yourself, your problems will seem magnified. And when I shifted focus, thanks to my mother who said, no, today we're going and doing the electrical stimulation in the hospital. I said, no, I don't want to go and I don't want to go. She said, no, today we have to go into the hospital. And when I finally met the other patients, and I said, my goodness, they are the people who are actually suffering. They really are the ones that I can learn from. There was a huge shift. And when that shift happened, gratitude, changes everything in your life. So that's how, the journey began, Aditi.
Lovely. So you know what, before the people are really wanting to ask you questions. So before I wrap up with you, I know that music is one of the most powerful mindfulness tools, as you have quoted several times, because just one note can actually alter one's frame of mind instantly, as what you just said. We would love to hear a few lines from the Dunya album and maybe a few lines from the last Sufi album from you. How's that? And can we expect another album?
For sure. So,
just give me 1 second. Yes.
Okay, sweetheart. So I will do Dunya for sure. And I'm definitely dedicated to everybody who's wanting to make their dreams come true. Because when I was making this album with my beloved father, we were really told, we heard a lot of no's, no, from publishing companies and this and that. And then it debuted at #1 because my father, my mother, my brother, and me just believed. We said, just follow your belief. If it does well, great. If it doesn't, it still doesn't define you. So that's important. So dedicated to everybody out there. And
thank you.
मैंने देखे सभी रंग दुनिया के, अरे हाँ ये दुनिया बड़ी रंगीली, तारारीरारा तारारीरारा तारारीरारीरारा, हर रस में नया है नशा इसके, अरे हाँ ये दुनिया बड़ी नशीली, तारारीरारा तारारीरारा तारारीरारीरारा.
Beautiful, Raageshwari. I think I just got goosebumps listening to you, by the way. And you have been It's been the most invigorating session with you. I am already feeling so positive. Let's open it up to everyone right here who are really waiting to talk to you and ask you more questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so Aditi, can I have the
Yes,
first
please,
question?
Taruna ji, go ahead. I mean, it's all yours.
No, I was just, you can say, entranced in Raageshwari talking about everything she feels and she's been through and um experienced, still experiencing. And at such a young age, she had so many messages of being a good human being with all the positives that you can um, include in your life and also pass it on to your second generation. In my case, I have grown up kids. So I hope my kids would learn some of the parenting tips that you gave, and it was really a wonderful insight. So a couple of things while I was talking to you. I mean, listening to you, that caught my ears. One was, I thought I heard that you get up at 2:30 in the morning, or is it 4:30?
4:30.
4:30.
4:30. Okay, because I thought, okay, you have to be a saint if you get up at 2:30 in the morning. And then I was going to ask you, so what time do you go to sleep? So that makes sense. Yeah, I used to get up also at 5 o'clock to play tennis, though, and then do the other things. Yeah. So that was one question, and the second question is that I heard it from Aditi only, and I said no, I'm going to ask her this question, and she told me that you do, of course, many kinds of yoga, but one of them is the Tibetan yoga,
Yes.
and I go to Tibet at least once a year. So this caught my eye, and I said I have to ask her because I've never heard of Tibetan yoga. So
So,
can you shed some
Zarur.
light?
Bilkul. Right away, I wanted to thank you for all the lovely messages. Thank you that are coming. And, Aditi, right away, I was thinking we must do a masterclass on affirmations and on vision boards. All right. Next, we will surely do that. So, now coming back to the questions that Tarunaji, thank you. The first question was yes, I sleep very early. So, I sleep by 9 or 9:30. I'm definitely in bed. On a really good day, 8:30, I'm in bed. So my husband and I, we Samaya eats very early when school, not during lockdown. During lockdown, she's having a party with us. But otherwise, I sleep early, and then Sudhanshu, being a barrister, has to watch news. I just probably browse through the news in the middle of the day, never first thing in the morning or late in the night. And then he joins me, but I sleep early. Where the second question was concerned with Tibetan rites, it was on my vision board, and we have to do a huge session on that, Aditi, because it'll be so powerful for your community to know about vision boards. So I had His Holiness Dalai Lama's picture on the vision board because I wanted to work with him. It was a chance meeting. It was so interesting. I suddenly got an opportunity from HMV that would you like to do this beautiful series on Tibetan yoga? Rekha ji was supposed to do this, and Rekha ji said no. And I was the lucky one that it was interesting because I anyways had a background of yoga, which had helped me where my facial paralysis was concerned as well. Tibetan yoga I knew of, and I started to really practice it. And then we shot after a year, and it was unbelievable. And so I still practice Tibetan yoga even today. So they are simple 5 postures. They're simple 5 postures because you see, when you do yoga, you need a very good guru to teach you the technique and to teach you the sequence. It's not even about the technique as much as it's the sequence. कौन सा आसना आपको पहले करना है? क्योंकि आप गलत आसना गलत टाइम पर करेंगे, you could cause more harm. So the Tibetan rites are formulated by the monks over 2,500 years ago. 5 simple postures to enhance each and every vortex in your body. And you do that same posture 25 times. So you start with doing them once, you gain energy, and now it takes me like 5 minutes to do 5 different postures 21 times, and there you're done. And you're vibrating with unbelievable energy after that. High powered posture, connect with the divine at that point. So it's like a prayer. Tibetan rites are so powerful for women if they are having issues with conception, for men if they're having issues with impotency, having issues at diabetes. Now, I have a serious thyroid issue, but you will never tell because it's helped me really balance out my thyroid, because the wonderful asanas that are there, they align each and every part of your body. And it's just powerful at every level. And it's a very simple exercise, very simple, that we all can partake in. It's almost like a prayer. And then through that, I met His Holiness Dalai
Wow.
Lama. So interesting. Yeah.
Lovely.
So,
Right.
you say that, do you do the asanas with Om Mani Padme Hum?
Gee, I do that with Om Mani Padme Hum, but I invite everybody to do it on, any mantra. Some people do it on Mahamrityunjay jap, some people do it on Om Namah Shivaya, some people do it with Ganpati japs. I mean, I have my father also doing Tibetan rites. He every day. It's lovely. The simple first exercises, the whirl, and on YouTube, or we can share the link, Aditi. So
Yes.
there's an entire video, a do it along on YouTube, that HMB and Sarigama and me have put up. It's there for free, and everybody can partake in that. It's just a small exercise, but you will see how beautifully your energy will grow. Pehle ek posture karne mein hi aap thak jayenge, and then in days you'll be able to do all 5 postures 21 times. Bravo.
Bravo. Yes, we'll have it soon. I'll connect with you on this, and we'll organize a session for all the beautiful ladies here. So, Taruna ji, I was just thinking that maybe we can take up the questions now, and we'll allow to unmute and have a quick question with her. How's that? I think everybody would like to chat with her positive, infectious energy. Yes, please, yes, we've got somebody. So if we can get details, yes, we'll share it with you, Serena. Any questions, please put in the question in the comment box and we'll unmute you. Anyone for any questions? I think we've spoken a lot.
Anyway, while people are thinking of a question, maybe we can do, for such a wonderful event by Raageshwari, a gift for you from
Yes.
FLO Ahmedabad chapter. So a virtual gift for you. And Chitra, if you can please play the slide.
Oh.
So there's a gift for you from Argento, and then this is a gift for you from Madhuban Resort and Spa. It says 3
Madhuban
days.
Resort and Spa, God bless. I bring it into my lovely energy field. I hope I'm there very soon.
Yes, and if you're coming all the way from London, we'll make sure you stay more than 3 days. Okay.
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you.
And can we also do the gift for you for the fishbowl winner of the day today from our
Yes.
viewers, members?
Yes.
Okay, so they have already drawn. Since I'm not in the office, they have done that. And the winner today is Druma Shah. Druma Shah. Okay.
Congratulations, Ruma. She's one of the members of Ahmedabad. Yes.
Okay. So I don't see her.
So we have a question from Yogita. Can we take it, Taruna ji?
Yes, of course. Now go ahead.
Can we take it, Raageshwari? Is it okay to take the question if you have some time?
Please, sweetheart, I'm all yours.
Okay. Chitra, can we unmute Yogita? So we're doing this for this session that we wanted everybody to be able to chat with, to ask a question themselves. Yogita ji, please feel free to ask.
Good evening, everyone. Raageshwari, I just wish to ask you one activity that you do, which is a mindful activity which you do, which you love practicing.
Okay, great. And thank you. Thank you, Yogita. Thank you for your question. Let's teach everybody that activity. So I do a whole lot of activities in the morning, but one thing which is very powerful that you can do is as soon as you wake up is a very powerful portal, as in it's a very powerful space that if you really structure your day properly, It all depends on that moment. So as soon as you wake up, never look at the phone, never look at the TV, never look at the news, but just look inwards, because that is the time when you've had a good night's sleep. So you've mentally cleansed yourself. So now just don't go immediately into the outside world. So what you do is you'll close your eyes as you wake up, and now consciously close your eyes and see something that makes you happy. So it could be visualizing your family, visualizing your parents, visualizing your child, visualizing you if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur. So the goal, whatever that you wish to see. Now here's something. So for example, I always have, if I have an alarm, I always have a beautiful chant playing. So when I wake up, my intention is to hear something that's energizing and that's calming at the very, now of course, pardon me, Sudhanshu doesn't wake up that early. It would be crazy for me to expect anyone else to do that. So I always put on, pods, and I hear something that's soothing. It could be a Krishna mantra, Ganesha mantra, Mozart, whatever it is, right? Or zikrs, from Islam during Fajr. So anything that awakens a calming spirit into you. Smell something that brings you happiness. So if you can visualize it as well, is fine, because your brain does not know whether it's happening or you're tricking it to, right? So you can visualize that you're, beautifully breathing in champa, chameli. Immediately you can get the whiff, isn't it? Or actually place perfume there, or flowers, or whatever, or smell your lover, your partner, your child. If you're the romantic kind, why not? Then taste something that brings you joy. So you can keep that in your mind, and you're brewing tea, or some people like to eat something as they wake up. It could be a fruit or dates, whatever it is, or just taste something that brings you joy. Sip water. I always keep water that's charged as well next to my bedside. You do the mantras before you sleep and you charge that water. It could be you're charging the water for someone's health, or giving them love, or charging the water for to have clarity, to have the mental energy to go through the next day. For example, I have a lot of stuff that I pack into a day, so you just energize yourself. So you can sip that. Touch something that makes you happy. So either you can touch, your files, your projects that make you happy. It could be a prayer book. It could be that, touch your child's face, or it could be touch your temple, whatever brings you joy. So you awaken each and every sense. Taruna ji, Aditi ji, and Yogita ji, who asked us that question. So you awaken all your five senses, you align them. You feel magnificent. You remember some people say, I don't know, aaj mera mood kyun nahi theek hai, aaj pata nahi. So it's not that always you feel sad and there's a reason. Sometimes you've now conditioned your mind so much to think negatively, it's become a pattern. So you may just never find, why am I feeling sad? So wake up and focus on each and every sense. So that's a very mindful practice. And it takes 5 minutes, because you want 60 seconds to see some, 60 seconds. And there you are.
Great. Your energy and aura is very pure and light, Raageshwari. It was very inspiring to hear you talk. A message from my namesake, Aditi Amin.
Amin, salams to you. But my love, we see a glimpse of ourselves in others. That is the truth. That is a very important takeaway as well, that, whatever we are in abundance, we see that in others. So every time someone is really kind to me, I know it's reflecting their beautiful mind. That's why you should never feel bad if someone says anything negative to you, because that also reflects that they are going through pain in their life or in their mind. So thanks
Beautiful.
to you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Raageshwari. And I'm so happy to have seen Bua after, I don't know how many years. The last I saw was at a wedding. And it's a delight to see her. How are you? Maybe we can have you ask a question. You have to unmute yourself. I think she's trying to unmute.
Okay, no worries. And for all various other mindfulness techniques, they can read about it in Building a Happy Family, which of course, because it's so important that we talk about Penguin's book.
Yes.
So Roshni is happy and Aishwarya Milli is happy.
Happy.
My team at
I'm
Penguin.
so happy. And thank you, Penguin. Thank you, Penguin India. And yes, we have, thank you so much for coming and joining us and taking out time. She, of course, it shows how much she loves you.
Thank you. Thank you all. So privileged. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raageshwari. Thank you, Aditi.
Thank you.
Lord, so blessed. God bless you. And you know, I want to know a lot more about your organization. I've been on the computer and read all about your missions, and I just feel so wonderful about the job that you're doing. And I would like to contribute.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing you in Delhi soon.
Yes, this COVID-19 should go away and the flights resume. And I'd love to see you and Renu and everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raageshwari.
Aren't I lucky to have somebody like Raageshwari in our family?
Absolutely. We all are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you all, bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can we do the vote of thanks now?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I'd love to see you and everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raageshwari.
Thank you, Raageshwari, for your beautiful input for the mind.
Let's have Nandita ji, please.
Yeah, 1 second. Just a second. Just a second.
It was a wonderful, wonderful show. Wonderful.
Good evening, friends. Thank you for an inspiring talk, Raageshwari. It was great having you. Your indomitable spirit is exemplified in the admirable way you have met with challenges that life has thrown at you. Your bouncing back with full vigor and vitality are important takeaways today. We at FLO would have loved to have you in person, but such as the case in your virtual presence has its own spark that lit many of us. My heart thanks to our sponsors, Madhuban Resorts and Spa, Phoenix Creations Simplified, Satyanara and Jadia and Sons, and Sanket India Anand. My thanks to IT partner EITL for providing digital expertise, Argentino for sponsoring the gift today. A big thank you to our design and print partner, Akash Printing and Stationery, and our PR agency, TVM Communication. My thanks to all the FLO members across different chapters and many YouTubers who have joined us today. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's very, very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Raageshwari. And I hope we do have another session with you, like you mentioned.
Absolutely, Tarunaji, and you know, we can do a session which is more science-based, where we can actually teach families what they can do in the mornings and what they can do in the evenings. Everything got to do with affirmations, everything got to do with vision boards, because people really love that. And then, you know, take it forward for sure. But for now, a big thank you to FICCI, the entire FICCI of India. It's been amazing, you know, doing, you know, sessions with all the chapters, and the Ahmedabad chapter has been absolutely amazing. I'd like to thank my team at Penguin. And so I'd like to invite everybody to please go ahead and pick up the book, Building a Happy Family, where you'll find in-depth, you know, explanations about everything that I've spoken about today. And I'd like to send my wishes to families out there to stay healthy, to stay happy, and to sort of surrender to everything that you're going through. And you know.
And thank you to Aditi. Thank you. And thank you, Aditi, for making this possible to have Raageshwari on FICCI FLO platform, Ahmedabad chapter. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.